Welcome to Tasker 101 Tutorials. This is lesson 25B. We're just going to pick up right where we left off. In the last lesson, or part A of this lesson, we created these two scenes. We assigned, had variables that were assigned based on people entering information. Now we're going to actually do something with all of that. First thing that we need to do is we need to find out how we're going to get from this scene to the next scene. So when it says press here to start, we're going to tap that, and now we're going to give it an action, a tap action. So when someone presses that, what do we want to happen? Well, we want that next scene to show. So we're going to select scene, and then we're going to select show scene, and then we're going to choose 101 sign info. We want that scene to show. This chooses how we want it to show up. You can have it as activity full window, overlay, blocking full window. Just remember, if you do overlay blocking full window, you got to leave that exit button checked in it so you can X out of it. Otherwise, you could kind of lock yourself out of your tablet, which you don't want to do, or your phone. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. We're going to say activity, we'll say full display, no bar. And we'll see how that goes. We're going to still leave show exit button. It's tiny anyway, it doesn't matter. And plus we want to always leave that there to begin with until you know you have other ways to X out of it. So we're going to do that first. And then the second thing we're going to do is we're going to destroy the scene that's already up. So scene, destroy scene, sign start. So why do we want to do that? Well, because the start scene is showing, so we want to show, now we want to show the sign in info scene, but we don't need the start scene anymore. So we destroy that as soon as that is done. And that's pretty much it for that. Now we're going to go to the sign info. I created this field, and at first what we did is when text was changed, we made sure it set the name, whatever was entered there, to name sign. Now we want to do one more thing with that. We want to have it say hello. So we can go to miscellaneous, say, and we can have it say hello, and then name sign, thanks for coming. So now it's going to assign that variable, and it's going to say hello and their name, and then thanks for coming. Now I go back. So what do we want it to do when they enter their phone number? We already said we want to assign the value they entered to %phone sign, and now we can have it also maybe give them some instructions for the next button. Thanks for, I didn't do that right. Thanks for sharing your number. Now, choose your age group by pressing the field and scrolling to it. Then tapping it. Okay, so now we have instructions for that. And then what do we want to happen when they select the age group? Well, we already had to assign the variable, but now we're going to have to do one more thing. We're going to have it say, oops, thanks for that information. Please press the finish button. And then we're going to have it go back. And now for the finish button. We didn't have it do anything yet, and this is where we're going to write the information. So upon tap, there's a couple things we want to happen. First, we're going to have it say thanks for coming to our class, and then have it say their name, which is name sign. Have fun learning about Tasker. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have it write the information that it collected. We had them input all this information, but we want to save it for our files. So we're going to go to File, and then we're going to choose Write File. And now we're going to click the little magnifying glass so we can find our files on our storage card. Now, I already set up a file for this. If you haven't, then you can either use one of your existing files, or you can use any type of file manager app to create a file. And I just made it easy. I put it inside the Tasker file. So let's see, where's Tasker? There we go, Tasker. And then I created the file called docs. So that's where I want it to go. So Tasker docs, now that's my file. But I got to name what I actually want the name of the file to be. That's my folder, I should say. So for the name, I'm going to give it the name sign in, and then I want it to be specific to the date. So I'm going to use, why is percent so hard to find on this keyboard? Percent, and then all caps DATE. That is just a built-in variable for Tasker for the current date. So Tasker doc sign in date. And then what text do I want it to have? Well, I want it to say, well, I want to make sure that this information is separated when I enter it. So this is a trick that I learned, is I have, so hard to do hyphens on this thing. Oh, I know, I can do it that way. Hyphen, and then I return, and then go name, colon, and now I'm going to use the variable that we created, which is name sign, and then return, and then phone. Oops. We can't type today, and then phone. And now the variable we created for that, which is phone sign, and then age group. And then the variable we created for that. Then I'm going to return, and then I'm going to add more hyphens. That way every time there's an entry, there will be these hyphens between each entry to make it easier for me to go through. Now I'm going to type append on. If you don't type append, then what happens is each time it would just write over what was there before. It'll write a whole new file over what was there before. We don't want that to happen. We want it to append this information each time to this file so that it will continually add new information. And that's it. So we're going to go back, and then we're going to do two more things. We're going to go scene, and then we're going to go show scene, and we're going to go to sign start, and we're going to say activity full window, full display, no bar. And we're going to leave show exit button checked, and then we're going to go here, we're going to go scene, we're going to go destroy scene, and we're going to go sign info. So it'll say thanks, it'll write that information, it will show the new scene back to the start scene and destroy the scene as before. There's a couple of other things you could do with this that I may touch on in part 3 of this lesson, but for now I think that's probably gonna be enough. And so now what do we do to get this started? Well, you got to have a way to start the whole process. So you got to create a task that starts this, that shows this scene. So let's have a task. Let's go plus, go 1, 0, 1, start, sign in. And what do we want this scene to do? Well, for right now, we're just going to have it show that first scene. Show scene, which scene, sign, start. And we're going to display it as activity full display, no bar. Now that we have that task created, if we wanted to start this sign-in app, if you want to call it that, when we are setting up, we would just open this task and then press the play button. Obviously, another option would be to add a shortcut to this task on your home screen, but you can just start it, and here you go. So it's telling you, if you press here to start, and then it's asking you for your name. We could have had that say something too, but make sure my volume is up. I believe it is. So now we're going to enter the name.
Hello, E. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, that doesn't work very well. So probably the best thing to do is we already know that doesn't work, so I'm going to show you how to fix that real quick before we go any further. I wasn't sure if it was going to work that way or not. Let's go back to sign info. What happened is, as soon as the text is changed, it's immediately starting that. Now, as you continue to add new text, so ERIC is continually changing this variable. So once you finish and you're done and you go to the next thing, that variable will be set to the entire string. But since that first initial E hits that, it's going to trigger your say statement right away. So what I would do is I would probably trash this and then just come down here and I would this be the thing that says the name. That way you're still getting that personal touch, but by then it should have the whole name in there. And that should make people really happy. Oops, that is not what I wanted to do. Alright, so let's try it again. Go to task, push to play, press here to start. I'm going to enter my name. Now obviously if you had a Bluetooth keyboard, that would be a good way to do this, so that you don't have the screen popping up, but you can do it either way. So now I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to start typing my number.
Thanks Eric Rye for sharing your number. Now choose your age group by pressing the field and scrolling to it, then tapping it.
So you see, as soon as I start pressing my number, that ignites it to start speaking to me, and it had my full name. But because it says thank you for sharing your number, and I just started, I'd probably go in and change that to say something, not be giving me instructions for the next field when I'm not even there yet. So then you tap this, and you see you can scroll up and down to find your age group. And once you pick an age group, we'll pick 50 plus.
Thanks for that information. Please press the finish button.
And then we'll press finish.
Thanks for coming to our class, Eric Rye. Have fun learning about Tasker.
And then it comes back to the start screen. You see every little exit button down here on the bottom. So I'm going to exit out of that. And now I do want to show you, let's go here, and we can go in and find Tasker and see that written document, Tasker Docs. So you see here's the sign in, 2/25/2014. Open that as text. You got to pick a way to view it. I'll use Quick Office, and you'll see it got my name. Now my phone number it did not get correctly. It only got one number, and then my age group it got as 50 plus. So we need to fix that phone number thing. So I think what's happening is our say statements are getting in the way of recording the variable. And that's what you do with Tasker, as I've said it a million times. You do something, then you try it, and it doesn't work, so you go back and fix it. Because I have a very elaborate sort of sign-in app I use for open houses, but it took me many, many hours to get it exactly right, and I did, and that's great. But now that I'm doing this all over again with you guys, it's like kind of starting from scratch. So if we go back to this scene, I'm going to say what I would do is I'd go here and go to text change, just leave it variable set. We already did that. Go to phone number, text change, just leave it to variable set. Get rid of this say command. And then I'd probably, since we're not doing any say commands there, sign in start, press here to start. I'd probably add a say statement here because it won't affect anything, but it'll be cool. Thanks for signing in. Can't say the name yet because you don't have it, but it oops. But you know, it'll still at least it'll welcome them. And then you can still have, when you hit this, you can still have it say something because there's not multiple entries. You're pressing a button and that's triggering an entry right away. So you can have the variable set, and then you can have it say. And then under finish is when you can have it finally say the name. So let's go back and test this again just to make sure it works. I'm going to go to task, start sign in, press play.
Thanks for signing in.
And you type your name, John Doe, phone number, and then you select an age group.
Thanks for that information. Please press the finish button.
And then press finish.
Thanks for coming to our class, John Doe. Have fun learning about Tasker.
There you go. And then it goes back to the sign-in scene. We're going to close that out. We're going to go back to our File Explorer again. And this is the same sheet because the date hasn't changed. It should have appended that to what we already had. So we'll press it and see. Office. Brings it up. And yes, it did. It appended. So that's what was there before, still there. Just adds the information. And you do have the full phone number because you don't have that say statement getting in the way. So that was the issue there. And that's that. So I think that's going to be it for Part B. And then in Part B, we'll get into the adding the motion detector and maybe adding a few extra features to this. And then after that, you guys can go play with it and change it and do all kinds of fun things with it. But for right now, we'll call that the end of Lesson 25B. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned some things about writing to files and creating scenes that allow you to enter information. All of that can be important if you want to create kind of elaborate apps to export through App Factory. Yeah, there's just, the more you learn with Tasker, the more things you find out, the broader the horizon and the more possibilities there are. So anyway, check out my other Tasker tutorials if you haven't already. Check out my Android app reviews. Got a bunch of those. I'm always on the outlook for really cool apps, especially cool utility apps. So any of you guys know of any that you don't see on my review list, and send them my way. And that is about it until next time. So have fun with Tasker.